What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. We got a wild one this week. It looks like a week where it is going to be very easy to go to war, and we're going to have to make some decisions about that. And you don't necessarily have to decide to go to war, but it's good to know that there is likely to be war out here in these streets. A lot of what we're looking at is we got this Mars retrograde, right? So Mars has been retrograde for a little while. Great sky watching. Clearly it's like cloudy as fuck right now, so where I am, and so I can't go out and look in the nighttime and see that Mars retrograde in the sky, bright red star up all night. It's pretty amazing stuff. But when it's clear out, I can do that, and it's dope. So highly recommend doing that. But when Mars is retrograde, then Mars is like extra Marsy. Mars is like extra angry and irritable and like ready to fight and stuff like this. And this Mars retrograde is in Leo, opposite to Pluto in Aquarius. So Pluto is the planet of, a lot of times Pluto will have to do with the like thing that's underneath, the underworld stuff in some kind of way. A lot of times there will be some kind of fear of the unknown. This is contrasted easily against fear of the known, which is a more Saturnian kind of fear. So Saturn will be associated with fear, but like things that are dangerous already. Like, if you go out into the woods in my area, then you got to know that it'd be some bears out here sometimes, you know what I mean? And so like you need to be aware about those bears, and you should be afraid of bears because bears will fuck your shit, right? Whereas Pluto, on the other hand, is afraid of the dark. So don't know what's out there. Anything is possible. My mind is full of images of horrible things that could be happening out there in the dark that I don't even know are, I don't know if they're happening. I don't know that they're not happening. I am anxious and uneasy about it, right? That is the kind of Pluto fear that we're looking at. So we see Mars in Leo, retrograde, extra Marsy, and opposite to Pluto in Aquarius. And Pluto, has just moved into Aquarius, and so is maybe speaking to horrors of the future, like we don't know what kind of future we are going to create as a people. And so there's a certain kind of concern about that. And so that is, and what's really interesting here is that, so Mars already made a forward pass opposite to that Pluto, and that was actually at the end of Capricorn. And then now we're going to see a backwards pass where we're going to see the same opposition but in Leo and Aquarius. And this week that's going to happen, but then also at the same time that happens, then the moon is going to come through Aquarius. And so the moon is the one which is, we are all in the sublunar sphere. We are all underneath the moon. Like so there's like all these other celestial influences. We got Mars, we got Pluto, we got the sun, we got like all the other planets, all the fixed stars, all that stuff. All that stuff is further away from us than the moon. And the moon is the one that goes around the earth pretty quickly relative to everything else. And so the moon is the one that sort of like takes all of the other celestial influences and highlights them, or kind of hides them a little bit. Like when the moon is not activating whatever is going on out there, then we don't get that thing as loudly as when the moon does come by and shine the light of the moon, or carry the light is what the moon often does. And so this week, after we get the new moon in Capricorn, so the new moon in Capricorn is going to be, like dark moon in Capricorn, like Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. The moon in Capricorn is already like a little bit uncomfortable or whatever, but like it's going to make a little sextile to Saturn. Could get worse than this one, honestly. We've seen a lot of wild ass lunations recently, and this one is not. It's cool, if you're going to be doing your like New Year's resolutions or something like that, I would go a little earlier than New Year this year. Hit that new moon in Capricorn, and there's a good potential for setting some practical boundaries for yourself in order that you might be more productive or something like this. This is also probably a pretty good time to get a reading. If you're going to do that, check out zambonifunk.com. You can get a reading. You can get a 10-minute situation like this where I'll just like sort of rap with the camera for a little while, let you know what's going on. I gotta let you know, it's almost never 10 minutes. It's almost always going to be 15 or something like that, but I'm only going to charge you for 10 minutes. It's $30. It's a good fucking deal. You should check that out. ZamboniFunk.com is where that's at. You can also get merch there. There's a bunch of cool ass artwork and whatever else. ZamboniFunk.com is the place to do that. There's also a podcast, whatever. It's gang that shit. So after that new moon in Capricorn, then the moon is going to move into Aquarius as well. And so then when we see that moon moving into Aquarius, we're going to get a conjunction to Pluto and an opposition to Mars. And that's right during the exact Mars-Pluto opposition. So that means that the moon is going to carry the light there and is going to highlight this Mars-Pluto opposition here. This is also interesting because not just the moon in Capricorn, but also the moon in Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. And so Saturn is currently in Pisces, making a square to Jupiter in Gemini. And these two have been square for a little while now. You know, I have been hoping, because Jupiter, like a square to Jupiter, Jupiter is the planet of joy, luck, and abundance. Typically, there's some kind of like improvement or beneficial situation here. Like an aspect of Jupiter tends to want to improve things or make things better or generate some hope or opportunity or something like that. So I've been hoping that this square from Saturn to Jupiter is going to give, especially since Jupiter rules Pisces, and so Jupiter is ruling that Saturn. Even though Jupiter is kind of underneath that Saturn is earlier in zodiacal order and therefore said to be overcoming or upon the 10th. So Saturn, when Saturn is high in the sky, then Jupiter is still on the horizon. So Saturn has the high ground is basically what that is. And so Saturn kind of like has more ability to do the Saturn thing on top of the Jupiter, even though that Jupiter is ruling that Saturn. What I had been hoping for was that Jupiter was going to sort of like lighten up that Saturn a little bit and bring a little hope and opportunity and be like, okay, yeah, it's kind of dark and like deep sea, anything, like the pressure of the deep ocean and all that, but there's hope and opportunity here. What I have found is that Jupiter in Gemini is the chatty sign, right? The one that wants to sort of like spin a narrative or something like this. Jupiter has been really good at telling tales of the deep. And so that's part of what I'm feeling like is going on here. So we've got Jupiter telling Saturn's tales, right? And so Saturn is dealing with the pressure of the deep ocean. And again, it's super dark down here. And like there might be a little fear of the dark and like what's out here and the sea monsters and feeling all the feelings. There's a lot of fucking feelings down here and I don't really know how to deal with all of this and all that, right? And then Saturn is then ruling this Pluto, right? And so we got the again, more fear of the dark situation going on here. And so to me, what this looks like is Pluto-Mars opposition wants to go to war, and then Saturn and Jupiter are ready to tell a tale that justifies that, right? So if somebody else is ready to go to war with you, then it's going to be real easy to talk yourself up in such a way that makes it feel like going to war is justified, right? It's the classic, like, I wish a motherfucker would, you know what I mean? Like, come over here, like fantasizing about a fight, fantasizing about terrible things happening because like I got all this like trauma, I got back trauma, I got tension that's been building up for a long time. I've been waiting for somebody to test me so that I could come out and like that kind of vibe is what I feel like is going on out here. So there's a question here about like how ready for war are you? And what I've been saying about this Mars retrograde the whole time is like, are your methods, is your approach in line with your goals? Are you moving in the direction of the thing that you actually want to get toward? So are you sure what you want to get toward in the first place? And are the moves that you're making taking you in that direction that will take you to somewhere that you actually want to go to? And so there's going to be a question this week, while other people are wilding out, probably not you, right? Just me going to be out here wilding, like, fantasizing about having a fight. But maybe some other people around you will be having that as well. And so there's a question for you is like, how much do I want this war? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Kind of up to me. ZamboniFunk.com. Appreciate you.